Welcome back to another episode of Geekorama, the podcast by geeks for geeks. We are produced by superherofiction.com, the one-stop shop for all your superhero novel needs. We are your hosts.
I'm Jeremy Flagg, author of the Children of Notre Dame universe.
And I am T.L. Heinrich, author of the Vigilantes universe.
And so, because this episode will be coming out on October 1st, right?
Yes, October 1st.
We decided we wanted our next couple episodes to be Halloween themed. So
Woo!
We decided to go dig through novels, books, graphic novels, and of course, I just need to subject Trish to movies she has not seen and movies that will slowly repair the damage of making her watch Guardians.
You got a long road to make up for that, buddy.
I promise. I think I got some winners for you coming up. So this week we're actually going to talk about a movie she just saw.
Mm-hmm.
Blade. So Blade, people would like to forget this, but let's go back. The year is 1998, and Marvel has their first all in a row. Their first major motion movie hit. It was a blockbuster. It blockbusted. First black character and first rated R movie.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we will be talking about that today for our deep dive.
Very exciting.
But before we start, hit us with some pop culture.
So today we have, because we're starting our Halloween theme, I wanted to do something about some classic monster movie magic. And so even though in a previous episode, I think we said it was episode 14 or 15, I talked about the book The Lady from the Black Lagoon by Mallory O'Meara as my geek out, I wanted to do a pop culture spotlight on the fabulous, the beautiful, the talented Millicent Patrick. Patrick had a very interesting career. In 1939, she began working for Walt Disney Studios as an inker. Actually, women back then they had the delicate touch per se to be able to line and trace the finer parts of the animation for Disney Studios. Disney was really on the cutting edge in the 30s with their animation. And they employed women to do the really dainty, really, really detailed, specific work. So at first, Millicent Patrick was one of those women that were hired to do that very specialized, detailed work. But then she graduated into doing more and more complex work. And actually, the Chernabog, the big demon in Fantasia, that's widely considered, that whole sequence is widely considered to be one of the most incredible, groundbreaking, and beautiful pieces of animation that Disney ever produced. That is due to Millicent Patrick. She actually animated that sequence and became one of the first female animators at Disney, which at the time, I mean, women were treated like they didn't have a brain in their pretty little head. So for her to do that was incredible.
And I want to add, just because I happen to teach animation history, 1939 is coming off the hit Snow White, in which Disney did not pay his animators. And so her career is actually going to be short-lived because the Disney strike begins, in which Disney used the signs from the picketers and the animations they drew on their signs to create Fantasia.
That's some next level dickishness.
Yeah.
Thanks, Walt. So when she did leave Disney, and it was, there were other reasons, but it was partially due to the strike, she continued her career and went to Universal Studios. And she is cited and widely believed to be the first woman to work in special effects and the makeup department. Now, to be clear, the makeup department was a place of prestige, and all the major studios had a Weston as part of it, or Westmore, excuse me. The Westmore family made its name as makeup designers and creators for motion picture. Back when that wasn't really something that, people did. I mean, it started around the time of the talkies. And so the Westmore family name came to be synonymous with high art, classy makeup design for films. Now, Universal had been doing monster movies. You've got Frankenstein, you've got Dracula, you've got Wolfman, you've got The Invisible Man, you've got all these amazing things. And so Bud Westmore, who ran the Universal Studios makeup department, was really playing around with a lot of special effects makeup. And he was taking the credit for a lot of different people's work. He actually didn't pick up a brush and do anything, but he took credit for all of his makeup artists who really pioneered the art of special effects makeup. So Millicent Patrick comes in to this boys club, working for Bud Westmore, who liked her at first because she didn't step on his toes. She didn't come into his territory and do anything but add to his own, glamour, his own good name. But when The Creature from the Black Lagoon came about, her designs were chosen. The designs for the head specifically were chosen by the studio. And she was tasked with designing that, coming up with the composition of it, what it would look like, working with the people that were hands-on, actually making the mask. And so word got out about this, and Universal was trying to figure out how to make The Creature from the Black Lagoon a hit and what kind of press tour they wanted to do. And somebody came up with the idea of, well, we have this beautiful woman, and she was actually an actress in a lot of films. So she was a gorgeous woman. We have this beautiful woman. Why don't we send her on tour as, the beauty who created the Beast? Universal execs loved it. Millicent was over the moon. Bud Westmore busted a forehead vein. He hated the idea because basically what it was saying is he didn't create it, this woman did. So he made them change it to the beauty who lives with the Beast. Millicent did this whirlwind nationwide tour. She was beloved. Newspapers and radio could not get enough of her. Television loved her because she was glamorous and she was beautiful. And when she got back to Universal, flying high, really believing, okay, this is it, I've broken into this amazing career, she was, without explanation, fired. And the reason she was fired was because Bud Westmore was furious. And so after that, it became, just people thought Bud Westmore designed the creature. And it wasn't until the 2000s that it came out that it was actually Millicent Patrick. And part of that was due to Mallory O'Mara's 2019 book, The Lady from the Black Lagoon. There were also some other papers, one by Vincent DeFate in 2011 that also explored the fact that her legacy had been pretty much erased. But now it is more and more accepted that Millicent Patrick was actually the designer of one of the most iconic movie creatures ever created.
And wasn't there also the Return to the Black Lagoon?
I think they did try to make a sequel. I don't remember.
I feel like that's just a tank waiting to happen.
Yeah, and I think it did tank. The Creature from the Black Lagoon was Universal's last big successful monster feature, which was a shame because they really had this great reputation for monster movies. It was well deserved. They have the classics, it's a shame they didn't lean into that more.
What was the movie with all the monsters in it?
There's one called I don't remember. There is a live action one. You think about the one with the kids and all the monsters? Yeah, I loved that movie as a kid, and I can't remember the name. And Frankenstein turned out to be like this marshmallow of a monster. He just
Monster Squad.
The Monster Squad, yeah. And Dracula was the big bad. Like he was the one that was like controlling everybody. And yeah, I loved that movie. I thought that was a great movie.
Because you have Count Dracula, Frankenstein. I love how he's just called Fat Kid.
What?
What? The Wolfman.
You do have the creature from the Black Lagoon, I think, in there.
They refer to him as Gillman.
That was his name for the Universal film as well.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, but it was in the script, but I also believe like he was just affectionately called that by the makeup department because of his gills.
Oh, and the Mummy.
The Mummy.
So Universal, I love that they were like, Marvel has a shared universe. And don't get me wrong, this would have been a really cool shared universe.
It would have been.
They tried to use, what was it, Dracula Forever? Or
no, it was the new Mummy reboot with Tom Cruise, and it was.
Oh, that was the second movie, though.
Was it really?
Yeah, the first one was going to be, it was like Dracula Untold or whatever it was. And that was a huge flop. So they were like, we're just going to ignore that. And we'll move
I've
on
never
to
even
Tom Cruise.
heard
It's
of
got to
that.
be a hit.
Oh my God.
I rarely shut a movie off. It was maybe 15 minutes into that movie. And I was like, better things to do.
Yeah, I heard it was a train wreck. I didn't even bother. I don't like Tom Cruise these days, so I didn't even bother looking at it.
And again, I made you watch Guardians. So if I shut it off, you know there's a problem.
Yeah, then I am not even wasting my time on that one.
Again, I liked X-Men 3.
Well, but what are you geeking out about these days?
So this was an accident that I stumbled across this. So when I was in the UK, it was only available in UK Netflix. And so I went and I watched the show, and I didn't realize that it was only available in the UK. So when I came back, it was saved in my queue, except you can't click it. And I was like,
no.
But why? So when I went back to the UK the next time, I saved it, which I could have just used a VPN client. I'm not that bright when it comes to this stuff. I saved it all in my queue and downloaded it offline, and I didn't turn my iPad back on until I was done watching it. So I'm not going to say it's an amazing show. I really just like the premise of it. So vampires.
Okay.
And Van Helsing.
So what's it called?
Van Helsing. Except it's about Van Helsing's great granddaughter, Vanessa Helsing.
Oh, wait, I swear I have seen this on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. It's now all on Netflix.
Oh, so okay.
What I didn't realize was it had 2 new seasons since my UK adventure, and it's all available online now in the US.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
So the premise of the plot, and I'm not even going to get half of this right, just because I watched it on the little screen. So, but it's based on a graphic novel by Zenoscope Entertainment, and it's called Van Helsing, and it stars Kelly Overton, who just looks like she needs to be a badass from the beginning. And it starts out like so many other horror genre. A woman wakes up from a coma. Except that doesn't happen till like episode 3. She's in a coma for the first few episodes. And all we know is this military team has been sent to protect this woman.
Okay.
We know nothing. Oh, and there's vampires? Okay, well, they're not normal vampire. They're kind of, and so what we find out as it kind of moves along is the apocalypse has happened. Vampires rule, and mankind is like on its last legs trying to survive. And for some reason, they are there to protect Vanessa Helsing, and they don't even understand who she is or why they're there to protect her. They're just following orders. And for the first season, they're in the hospital and it's very kind of low budget in that fact. Like it stays in a very contained area, which I personally love. But
yeah.
And so you get some really cool character stories, and you find out the doctor who was working on her has been turned into a vampire, and she's trapped there. And so, like, you get like all these inklings of potential new characters, but it's really slow to the reveal. And you realize she's Vanessa Helsing. What this means, we have no idea in the first season. Okay, next season.
Is she kind of like, it sounds like she's kind of like a Buffy character, very Buffy-esque.
Except if Buffy was a vampire, kind of.
Okay. Huh. I'm going to have to give this a try. This sounds like right up my alley. I love this kind of stuff.
It's got a lot of grotesque elements to it because it's vampires, but it's never very horror-y. Like, you're not ever going to watch it and be scared. You might watch it and be like, oh, so-and-so just ate someone's neck and I watched it. Meh.
Dude, I watched Blade.
Yeah,
oh my God.
It's about that without the quippy dialogue. So
okay. All right.
The premise is really cool. You get to see this really apocalyptic world. You don't understand why she's important, but she we get an inkling. She cuts herself and she goes to lick the hand, and suddenly she goes into a bloodlust. And her bloodlust is different from other vampires. And I just think it's kind of cool in the fact that you have no effing clue what's happening. You're just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah.
And I'm in season 3 right now, and there's psycho killers. There's this poor kid who I loved, and they made him evil, and maybe have a soul. And the sociopath serial killer is his best friend. And
holy shit.
Oh, and there's a sisterhood of evil vampires, which I'm not really sure where they come into the story, but sure, why not? Oh, Asian vampires. So
nice.
It basically
turns into a joke.
This, what haven't we included this season? Ninjas.
I love shows like that. I love it.
And it has a very serious tone to it, and so they kind of fake it till they make it. Where, so like you have The Walking Dead. Everyone knows the tone of The Walking Dead. Basically, every episode you want to cry. Then you have Sci-Fi's show Z Nation, which is like the wild, wild west of zombies, and through most of it, it's ridiculous. This is a sci-fi show, and it falls in the middle of those two.
Okay.
If you're a fan of vampires, you're a fan of the Dracula lore. It does pull on the vampire lore from around the world, so there are elements that are sprinkled in. So, you know what? Give me a little mythology. Give me a woman who just keeps kicking ass and apparently wakes up from a coma, and we're sold. So, because we were talking about Blade, I was like, oh, perfect. More vampires. Let's do that.
Yes, absolutely.
So what have you been geeking out about? I knew before I even opened the document what yours is going to be.
Did you really?
Yes. It pops up and I was like, Trish.
Well, Enola Holmes. So this is a movie rather, based on a series of books, the Enola Holmes Mysteries. The minute I saw the trailer, I got my girls together. I was like, you guys have to see this trailer. And they were in awe of the trailer. So Dan and I watched it ahead of time to make sure that everything was good. And it is family friendly. It's action, adventure, mystery. It's funny. It's everything you would want a good family movie to be, with an amazing female protagonist. Enola Holmes is played by
Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown, right? And she reminds me of Emma Watson so much because she actually has her own production company. When she filmed Enola Holmes, she was 15. And she is one of the producers of the movie. And I am just like, what 15-year-old has their shit together that well, first of all?
Do you know, so this will go into how much crap I watch. Do you know the first time we saw her in America?
Was it Stranger Things?
No.
What was it?
Hell's Kitchen season 16.
Really?
She was one of the like D-list characters or D-list actors.
Oh my God.
In Hell's Kitchen. And so she is, I kid you not, 3.5 feet tall, getting an ice cream sundae.
Oh my God.
I had to rewind it. I was like, who are you? It's you.
Well, it's an all-star cast, honestly, because Henry Cavill plays Sherlock. Sam Claflin, I think is his name, plays Mycroft. And Hunger Games fans would know him as Finnegan or Finn.
Oh, okay.
He's also the male lead in Me Before You, which I hate that movie. It broke my heart. And then Helena Bonham Carter, the splendiferous, the amazing, the fucking wonderful in everything she does, Helena Bonham Carter plays Eudora Holmes, their mother. And it's just, Enola breaks the fourth wall, first of all, and it really, I feel like that is really a risky way to tell the story. I feel like there aren't a lot of, first of all, actors that can pull that off, but also stories that can sustain that. And this did, and she did. Like, she made you a confidant and made you part of the story. And at one point, she's asking you for advice. Do you guys have any ideas? Anything? You know, she is captivating. She's in, I believe, every single scene of that movie. And she is utterly captivating. You cannot look away. You are dying to know what she says next. The mystery is totally worthy of a Sherlock Holmes mystery. The setting is perfection. I mean,
I'm a little bit irked about this because all the advertising that I saw for it was Henry Cavill, and then everything on Netflix is him. I could care less about him.
Yep.
Give me some Millie Bobby Brown. I would watch her all day long.
That is one of the biggest criticisms that people are having right now, is that the vast majority of the publicity that Netflix did going into it and then in the days following its premiere centered around Henry Cavill, because they thought that would be the bigger draw. And people are like, no, you don't. This is a female Sherlock Holmes movie, basically, with a very dynamic woman heading it up. I mean, there are issues about like feminism in the late 1800s. There are issues about class. There is an incredible scene. Actually, there is a couple of scenes that Enola isn't in. And one of the most incredible ones she isn't in, but is with an African-American woman. Or, I mean, she's British, so she wouldn't be African-American. Person of color, she's a woman of color. And Henry Cavill. And she's dressing him down for not being involved in politics. And he's like, well, it's boring. And she's like, exactly. She's like, you have no interest in changing a system from which you have profited since the moment of your birth. And I was like, damn, it was great. So it's got stuff like that in it that feels very timely, but it's also fun. And my girls were cheering. They were excited. The one time that Enola gets saved by a boy, my youngest was like, ugh. Why does the boy have to save the girl? And we were like, okay, she needed help. It's okay to need help, you know. But they were just entranced. It is a 2-hour movie, so that's a long movie. But they loved it, and they want to get the books. So I highly recommend it.
Who wrote the books?
I don't know her name. I feel really bad. The first book, though, when I went to go look for it, it's unavailable on Amazon. Because it's sold out.
Because Enola's never mentioned in the Holmes series, is she?
No. So the thing about Sherlock's siblings let me see, Nancy Springer. And it's a 6-book series. So the thing about his siblings is there was always speculation about him having siblings, but they were never mentioned until a book where Mycroft just appears. But then after that, there was always speculation that there was a sister, even though she wasn't mentioned. And then in the BBC Sherlock Holmes show with Benedict Cumberbatch, we actually do meet his sister, who is more brilliant than him and Mycroft, and a little bit insane, more than a little bit insane. And it's a big family secret. They don't talk about her because reasons. That is the only other time I've ever seen a version of Sherlock Holmes where he does have a sister. So then there's this, and it's the family dynamic is very different. That's another thing that people are quibbling about. Mycroft is a stone cold asshole. You want somebody to drop kick him off London Bridge. Sherlock actually has more feeling than other versions of him, which people are like, quibbling about, oh, that's not really Sherlock Holmes. But you know what? I can totally forgive that. This is an Enola Holmes story. I don't care.
So when I was in London, I went to Baker Street.
Did you really?
Unfortunately, the museum was closed, but it was kind of cool to be at Baker Street.
I bet. I've always wanted to go.
It wasn't, I guess it was, I'm sure like Harry Potter fans, every time they get on like the London Metro are like, where is it? I wanted to see, some dude in a top hat doing cocaine, but no top hat.
Oh, yeah. No opium to see here, folks.
No, that's pretty awesome though. It keeps popping up on my Netflix. But I do agree, like, how many people walked away satisfied from Superman, and how many people walked away satisfied from Stranger Things, especially Netflix people?
Yeah.
You made an error.
Yeah.
I would rather watch that 15-year-old girl than him any day of the week. Yeah,
exactly. Agreed. And there should be nothing wrong with capitalizing on the fact that you have an amazing, intelligent, well-rounded female character heading up a movie like this. You should capitalize on that and on her because she's incredible.
And she's in a music video called Sigma featuring Birdie. In case anyone wants to know, I watch all the music videos.
I'll have to find that one. That sounds good.
She also does a rendition of Bruno Mars, Just the Way You Are, which is adorable.
Oh my God. Well, and what I love about her for Stranger Things is she was really scared to take the role because she had to shave her head.
And then what's her name? Showed her the pictures from
Charlize Theron from Mad Max, Fury Road.
Yeah.
And then she's all in for it, which makes me love her more, honestly.
And she's adorable. And she's a little ferocious, which, I mean, honestly, all teenage girls are like that, but.
Yeah, but I really do feel like she and Emma Watson are cut from the same soul cloth. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would love to see them do something together. That would be mind-blowing.
The junior years.
The Wonder Years?
Yeah.
The Wonder Years of Mad Max.
Mad Max is a tween. It would just
God.
I would watch it.
It'd be so broody.
Instead of cars, they're going to be on bikes. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Stranger Things.
That is Stranger Things. Yeah, go watch Stranger Things.
Go watch Stranger Things.
We've already got it.
All right. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be back to discuss some Blade.
Desperate to read a great cape and cowl story but unable to find any on Amazon? Want a new anti-hero to love to hate? Need some women heroes in your super team rotation? Superhero Fiction is here to help. With over 300 curated superhero books and counting, you're sure to find the novel that will scratch your itch. Unless, of course, that itch is a radioactive spider bite, and then, well, you're on your own. Superherofiction.com. Real fans read.
All right, and we're back after having a thought-provoking conversation about Pikachu dropping the F-bomb. This is what we do.
You all know, you want it, everybody. You know you do.
And I think people who know us, that's not a very far thing to think about.
No, it's a hop, skip, and a leap, honestly.
Okay, so in 1998, Blade comes out, and this is from Marvel Studios. It is not a Marvel Studios has been around for quite some time. We have movies like, wait for it, Transformers, 1984, I believe.
Oh my God.
We have Care Bears.
Oh my God.
So Marvel Studios has been around, and there's been tons of shows and there's been cartoons, but here we have a live action movie that is not Dolph playing Punisher. Sorry. I do draw the line somewhere.
Thank God.
And they were basically re-owning their properties. And so it comes around, and people had so much beef until Deadpool comes out saying, see, there's proof that there can be a rated R successful superhero movie. Bitches, please. It's been it was the original. So Blade is my OG as far as I'm concerned.
Why do people forget that? They really do forget about Blade.
Because he's not part of the unified universe.
I don't know why they just don't add him to it. I mean, he's iconic at this point.
And you could just CGI and Tony Stark in the background. No one would care. I mean,
yeah, seriously.
This is why I am actually very miffed that they're rebooting it to bring him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not because I would love some more Blade, but you did it well, and everyone seems to forget that this was the winner.
So who's playing him in the reboot? Because I loved Wesley Snipes in this.
No one will ever work with Wesley Snipes again.
Is it the tax evasion thing? I feel really sad about that.
Apparently he was horrible to work with on everything.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. Apparently he's mellowed, but I did read quite a few reports. So
Wesley.
Blade comes up, and the best part about Blade is Blade, yes, he is in a lot of Marvel comics. He even pops up in X-Men from time to time. But for the most part, he's well known for the Marvel Knights series, which is Marvel's kind of darker run. You'll see things like Morbius, Moon Knight, these other not super mainstream characters, but they do have a pretty strong cult following. And so we get this character out of nowhere. No one wanted this movie. No one. We are so over vampires. We're done. Just stop it. And then Blade happens. Okay, I guess one more. We're good. And the whole premise behind Blade is that his mom was bitten by a vampire, and she dies while giving birth to him. And he is technically a vampire. He is a vampire hybrid, and he gets all their perks. Oh, and the bloodlust, but he keeps it in check most of the time. So that is the premise for the first movie. Who are the bad guys? Who cared?
Actually, but you will recognize the actor because he made a freaking career out of playing a douchey, oftentimes greasy-haired asshole of a villain throughout the late 90s and early 2000s.
You know who in this movie really kind of shocked me? I'm going to have to pull IMDb this because I'll never remember his name.
Chris Christopherson? That shocked the hell out of me. Looking all mountain man weird.
Oh no, but Chris Christopherson was kind of
He was fun in it, honestly. Dan was reading the trivia. While you're looking that up, Dan was reading the trivia last night as we're watching this, and apparently Wesley Snipes originally pitched Black Panther. He pushed hard for years to do a Black Panther film, but Marvel decided instead to do Blade.
Donald Logue, who you're like, who the hell is that?
Wait, is he from The Shield?
He's from Gotham.
Okay, because there is an actor from The Shield that's in the very beginning.
He
in
is
the
also
Bloodbath Club.
the guy who has his hand cut off.
No. The very beginning, the guy that's with Tracy Lord, the former porn star, and she takes him into.
I'm so glad you brought that up because we're going to talk about this.
Okay, I loved her. I was like, oh my god, you're cool. I love your Betty Page hairstyle. Oh, she's dead. No, he was part of. He was in The Shield. He was part of the core group. Tall, blonde guy. He was also in Saving Grace on TNT. But he was brought into the club by Tracy Lord, and then was horrified when blood starts raining down through the sprinklers.
Oh yes,
yeah, that's one. And Dan's like, who? And I was like, right there. He's from The Shield.
So Donald Logue is in things like ER, Grounded for Life. I know him from Law and Order SVU.
Oh wait, he's the one that got his hand cut off?
Yeah.
Over and over? He was amazing. I loved him in this.
And he is the detective Harvey Balak in Gotham.
Yes. Okay, yes. Well, fun fact, apparently he had a jaw injury way back when from a motorcycle accident. His jaw had been dislocated and it wasn't set properly. It didn't heal properly. So whenever he gets a hard blow to the face, it dislocates and locks in that place. The scene, so there's a scene where, he, at the beginning of the movie, Blade sets him on fire and the fire department puts him out and they bring him into the morgue.
Oh, yes.
And he gets up and he starts fighting. Apparently something happened. He slipped and fell flat on his face, dislocated his jaw, and it's locked in this broken place. So he's screaming in pain. They rush to get him to a real emergency room, but he's still in his burn makeup. So the ER, he starts prepping the burn unit, and they're like, no, it's makeup. It's his jaw. So they have to clean him up while they're trying to push his jaw back, clean up his arm so they can get an IV in him. Yeah, horrific.
Well, I mean, kudos to your makeup job.
I know. If people think it's actually real, like.
So the whole movie is basically, the only way I can describe it is leather, blood, and techno music.
Yes.
Anything else?
That's a fair description.
Meh. The acting. I'm not gonna put it in my top 3.
I'm not here for the acting.
No. So when I was rewatching it, the reason I wanted to rewatch it is the first scene where we see vampires doing vampire things is this guy is brought into a club, and there's always a club. Vampires all apparently go to clubs.
They love them.
And everyone's dancing to some rave music, and it's like some hardcore, like jungle house music.
Mm-hmm.
And blood starts raining down from the spigots. What I want to know is, if they're there to drink blood, why did they put it into the sprinkler system?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like a fountain, like a champagne fountain at a fancy event. Instead, it's champagne or it's blood sprinklers. Like, I don't know.
It would be like, would you rather eat from the chocolate fountain or just have it rain down on you?
Well, if you're going to put it like that.
I feel like that was a waste of some good blood, but whatever. Okay.
Well, and that is a good point, because a lot more ended up on the floor and on their bodies than it did in their mouths. And why would you also, what's up with Tracy Lord's lack of thereof character actually, bringing a snack when it's going to be raining dinner anyway? So I don't really understand that.
And was he supposed to be he's one scrawny dude? Like, was he supposed to feed that whole club? Like,
yeah, was she going to share?
I feel like vampires, this movie might not be full of logic. So, okay, yeah. I'm willing to go along for the ride. But the first scene, and I still remember this, because I saw it in the theater. I was just old enough to see an R-rated movie. Actually, I wasn't old enough. I probably had my father with me, who probably fell asleep in the first 5 minutes.
So you were basically alone.
Yeah, basically. And so he has this boomerangy knife thingy that he throws.
Oh, yeah. I loved it. I thought that was cool.
Walls. And in hindsight, it completely defied physics, but okay, there's vampires, so let's not talk science.
Captain America's shield does not obey the laws of physics either.
Yeah,
so it's not exactly a new thing.
It's right up there with America's shield. So I just remember going, damn.
Yeah. I liked his katana. That's the weapon I loved.
And for me, I live in the backwoods of Maine at this point. This is why the music is such a big deal to me. The first time I heard techno music was Blade.
Holy shit. Really?
And so I was like, this is mind-numbingly pleasant. What is I even remember going to Borders afterwards and trying to describe it to them, and they're like, what? And it wasn't until the Blade soundtrack came out that I was like, okay, this is what I got. So
oh my god, that's hilarious.
It was in the orchestral soundtrack section of Borders music.
That's a very strange categorizing system right there. I thought the wire work was great. Honestly, like the fight scenes, very, very good. I really liked it. And the thing is, it was pre-jump cuts.
Yep.
And jump cuts are used so often now, and I hate it. It's one of the reasons why I think John Wick is a superior action film, because it really doesn't use jump cuts. But there was no jump cuts, and so I loved it. I could see everything. I could see what was going on. I understood the punches and the adversaries. The wire work I thought was seamlessly done. And I love good wire work. I don't know why. I just absolutely adore it. I think it's great.
And it gave us a little bit of everything. So we got awesome martial arts. Did this one
great sword fighting scene? It's got a good sword fighting scene at the end.
It's got a couple. And the end, and we'll talk about this, the end is a complete and utter clusterfuck of what it was supposed to be.
Oh, really?
So at the end of the movie, the original script had Blade losing. Blade
wow.
They weren't secure enough in a superhero movie, a vampire superhero movie, making it to movie 2. So originally, Frost was supposed to win and turn into this blobby thing and go out into the city, and vampires were supposed to be revealed to the rest of the world. And we were going to get basically kind of a apocalyptic kind of event happening. But they were like,
that would have been really interesting, actually.
And knowing that it gets 2 more movies, sure. At one movie, they were like,
we better hedge our bets.
Sword fight with a shirtless dude. Sure.
That's how we're going to end it.
And I think that pretty much made everyone happy.
Yeah, except for the fact, shirtless dude, Wesley Snipes outweighs shirtless dude by, I'm going to guess, about 75 pounds, and that's not including his body armor.
And
I mean,
the only thing I didn't like about the movie was Karen.
Is she the doctor?
Yeah.
She was so one note, God bless her. I was like, I really can't say that I care if you live or die, and that's a problem.
And so it kind of, you know what it reminds me of? It's
oh God, and her name is Karen.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
Terrible.
It's so much better today. She is, what's her name from the first Spider-Man movie?
Mary Jane Watson.
Yeah, there's just enough of a romance there that we're going to be somewhat interested, but
there was zero chemistry between the two of them. I'm sorry. It reminded me of the first Underworld movie. I was like, why are we shipping these two again? There's nothing.
Love you, but do I have to?
Yeah, exactly. I was actually really happy they didn't take it any further. Honestly, they didn't technically have a sex scene, but when he feeds off her, I was like, this is the sex scene. Okay.
Yep.
Because it was basically what it looked and sounded like. Which I've seen done a couple other times. I think one of the best interpretations of vampiric feeding as a stand-in for sex is probably Buffy. In season 3, when she forces Angel to feed off of her, it's very sexualized.
And I think because all the other vampires in this are club goers, they're all wearing skimpy outfits. And there's even the scene where, he's banging Blade's mom.
Do we actually see them have sex? I don't remember that.
No, but he's in her super high-tech bed.
The coffin? Yeah. Well, what I appreciated is we see her get out of bed. We don't clearly see her face the first time we see her. So we think she's just another, just another fling until you're like, oh shit, that's his mom. And then there was the supremely uncomfortable moment when she walks up to Blade, his mom, walks up to him and gets all pervy with him. And I'm like, okay, please don't grab him anywhere because that would be crossing the line. She didn't. But it was very sexualized. And I was like, I am uncomfortable right now.
But they missed the opportunity. Dude, I banged your mom.
Yeah.
And the mom does play a role in the fact that he remembers her even though she died during his birth. And so come to find out, Frost is the one who did it, and Frost has kind of been keeping her around. And so he does make light of it, but it would have been so, dude, banged your mom. Like, it
would have been perfect. The perfect dig, honestly.
And because Blade has some borderline comical pieces to it.
Yeah. I texted you or I messaged you my favorite line is at the end. It's like excuse the language, listeners, some motherfuckers, what was it? I gotta look it up, damn it. I want to get it just right because it was perfect. It was at the very end when he's fighting Frost and it was just the perfect line. Some motherfuckers always try to skate uphill.
It is.
And I was like, that is brilliant. I love it.
And Blade can't possibly win the final battle until he gets his sunglasses.
And then.
But
then it's all good.
And then the whole time, so you have Blade who is really untrusting of people. You have Whistler who's been doing this for years and he's the grizzled old mentor who really doesn't like anybody.
But he really does.
What? Yeah. And then you have Karen, who is a hematologist. A little on the nose, anyone?
Who, let's be honest, comes up with a vampire cure pretty fucking fast with no equipment.
Yeah, you're in a freaking garage.
Not even a nice garage.
Yeah.
It's a rundown piece of shit garage.
And somehow, in the middle of the night, you and Whistler, who doesn't like anyone, went and got all your lab equipment. One, you're transporting a couple $100,000 worth of expensive equipment from the hospital. I'm pretty sure you've been fired. And then it's been 6 hours and you now have a pseudo cure.
Yeah.
And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about it, even though it doesn't do what you think it does. Because, hint, it's going to be useful later. They might as well have just taken a red arrow and circled around.
The reasons for having her exist at all in the story are so thin in terms of she's a plot device. She might as well have been called PD, honestly. That would have been fine with me because she has no personality at all. The only time I got even the teensiest bit oh dear, was when they threw her in the pit because apparently, and I thought this was kind of a fascinating thing that they spent no time whatsoever on. If sometimes some people don't turn very successfully into vampires and they technically become zombies. So they have pits where they keep these really unfortunate beings and then they feed them whatever scraps they can find. So they dump her into a pit with her former coworker, who's now a really fucking rough looking zombie. And that was one of the parts I didn't want to watch. I was eating lunch and I was like, well, this is unfortunate. And I did kind of care. I was like, I really don't want you to die this way. I mean, I technically don't care, but this seems like a gruesome way to go.
And it was kind of funny because earlier in the movie, she friend zones him. And then he tries to get out of the friend zone and she shuts him down.
Yes, she does.
And then you see him as a zombie and you're like, friend zoned.
Too bad, dude.
I did appreciate that she at least fought with a vampire.
Yes.
She, I mean, didn't do great, but at least she wasn't being useless.
Yeah, exactly. She wasn't just the damsel in distress like Kirsten Dunst in all of the Spider-Man films.
And, I mean, don't get me wrong, she could have been replaced with a really thorough Wikipedia article, but she did do something.
So this is kind of a classic trope, though. When you're talking about any kind of, superhero, vampire, whatever, you generally want the medically inclined character is great for patching people up and doing the medical speak and finding the wonder cures. And generally it is a hard role to pull off where it's still interesting. And I feel like one of the best examples of this would be the night nurse from the Netflix Marvel series.
Yes.
She was a whole person, separate from the fact that she was a nurse and patching everybody up. She had a whole character arc.
And she had a complicated character arc because we really see her first as a nurse and then she becomes a relationship. Mm-hmm. But we see her different personas with different characters around her.
Mm-hmm. And she ends up bringing everybody together. She's kind of that initial linchpin of introducing everybody.
Whereas Karen,
I know they didn't have Wikipedia in the 90s. It would have been like, if Whistler had a really good set of Encyclopedia Britannica and cobbled together microscope, I think we would have been fine.
Whistler could have been replaced by a YouTube video.
Oh, but I liked him. He was a cranky old dude.
How do I kill vampires? Watch it on double speed. And he's obsolete.
And we're done. Although I did appreciate some of his inventions, like the garlic and silver nitrate mace. That was fucking brilliant.
And I did appreciate the little gadgetness to it because
his weaponry was fantastic.
Cool stuff. You're too busy out killing.
Yeah. No, I appreciated the father figure aspect of it. Like, okay, that's
and he in the next two movies he does carry through. Like you do see some evolution of the father figure. So I did appreciate him in that one.
Okay, but how does he survive? Because that's what Dan said. I was like, but he just shot himself and he was bitten all to hell. So how do they hand wave that away?
The second movie was like, watch us retcon what happened. And it does actually play into the plot.
Okay. It's Guillermo del Toro who directed the second movie.
And you will 100% see his thumbprint on it because of there's a different breed of vampires.
Ooh.
They're the scary things. And their jaws unhinge. And you're like, this looks like a look, it's a Guillermo del Toro.
Holy shit.
And it's weirdly grotesque in only way he can do. And so it kind of reminds me of the what was it? The Balrog from Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of has
the one that has the flower face.
Yeah.
I call it flower face because I can't remember its actual name.
And then there's some other plot which you're like, whatever. And this is where the internet is wrong. So
okay,
I have said this over and over, and I'm going to push everyone to go rewatch it. You can skip Blade 2. Plot-wise, it doesn't really fit into plot 3. You don't need it. Just go watch Blade 3. And all of you are like, that was horrible. Yes, it was. I saw it in the theater. It was horrible. However, it has Ryan Reynolds in it. So it has Ryan Reynolds as the sex toy of Parker Posey.
That's all you have to say. That's all you have to say. I'm sold.
And at the time, you were like, oh my God, this is painful. He made a career called Deadpool based on this character. It's the same character. He does kind of wear a red suit.
That is hilarious.
He could actually put on the red mask of Deadpool and you wouldn't know any different.
So now I actually do want a Deadpool Blade movie.
And
that would be, I got to go see it now. I'm just going to.
If you close your eyes when they're having their banter, you would think you got your Blade.
It's Deadpool. I love Parker Posey. I think she's fucking hysterical.
And she is partly what makes her so funny in it is I don't know if she ever took out the prosthetic fangs. So she has this odd lisp when she's talking. And to anybody else, you would be like, oh, please stop it. But with her, she just owns it.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
And the big bad in it is, whatever. It's a vampire.
Who cares? Yeah.
But it's Dominic.
Was he a hobbit?
No.
Okay, thank God, because I can't see him pulling off a bad guy.
Tomorrow.
What? What?
It's the fire dude.
Legends of Tomorrow.
He has the fire gun.
Oh my God, Nick?
Yes.
Are you serious?
He's the villain. You spend the whole thing.
No, I have to watch it. What? I'm sorry. I was talking over you. I was so excited.
He spends the whole thing shirtless. And let me just tell you. Yeah.
I'm watching it now. It's got everything I could ever want.
Deadpool and a half naked Mick.
And Parker Posey with a lisp. And if that's not selling you and you're like, dude, I just need a really hot chick with a bow and arrow. Well, guess what? Oh my God.
And there's more.
Oh my God. See, Dan, I told Dan, I was like, Remy is totally going to recommend me watching the third one. He's like, oh my God, the third one's so bad. No, we're not watching that. I'm like, well, maybe you're not, but I'm going to.
And because we need a hot unknown actress, we have Jessica Biel.
No.
And Jessica Biel was just getting her feet under her. And I kid you not, there's a montage of her loading up her iPod. It's so bad. And you're like,
oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. But see, now I've been prepared. The thing is, I tend actually to like quote unquote really bad movies with the exception of Guardian. When I've been prepared for them being bad, but like as opposed to like, oh my God, this is the best movie ever, and then my expectations are so high and I'm like, it was okay.
And for me, Blade 2 is much like Underworld. Underworld 1 by no means was a great movie, but you kind of knew what you were getting into.
I mean, it's good popcorn flick, like, you know, I'm there for some vampires and werewolves fighting. Okay.
Hot woman, latex, fighting.
I mean, Kate Beckinsale in like neck down leather and really amazing like knee-high boots. What more do you want?
You didn't go for the plot.
No.
Blade 2 is just, okay, there's going to be some sword fighting. There's going to be a car chase. There's going to be whatever. Who cares? Blade 3, because the supporting cast of okay, this is the best supporting cast in the universe. Jessica Biel, who gets billing over Ryan Reynolds. Just want to say that.
Holy shit.
Parker Posey. Wait, there's even better than that. Natasha Lyonne.
Oh, Jesus.
And wait, there's one more. Make sure I'm gonna get the name wrong, otherwise. I know you're gonna be right.
You can do it. You can do it.
Patton Oswalt.
No! Oh my God! Please tell me he's chubby little vampire.
No, that would have been awesome.
Oh my God!
He is
a vampire. Damn it!
He's playing Patton Oswalt, a super, super excited geek that when he gets to talk tech stuff, gets like flustered.
Oh my God.
And so, yes, everyone who went in wanting the first Blade movie with that awesome fight scenes, and it's a little hokier, but it's hokey in the ways that made Deadpool awesome.
Okay, now I really have to watch it. Because honestly, like, it doesn't have to be the deepest, most amazing, deconstructed vampire. I don't give a shit. Honestly, I really don't. I just want a good vampire action film.
The final fight scene, which, you know, is what everyone wants to see, like the best of the best. You're like, meh.
But it's Mick as a vampire.
You really, the best part of the final fight scene involves a chihuahua. No. A Labradoodle?
Oh my God.
No. A Pomeranian. That's what it is.
A Pomeranian. Those dogs are from the devil.
Oh,
it plays terrible. The plot. Is it a vampiric Pomeranian? It is? Oh my God. Okay. I'm in. I am so in.
It's Deadpool versus a vampiric Pomeranian. What more do I have to do to sell this movie?
I know. What more do you want, people? I think we actually have our question of the week based on that. Is, will you guys please watch Blade 3 and then tell us what you think?
Go watch Blade 3, please. This is like my foundation plea. Please go out. I need some Sarah McLachlan in the background. Will you go watch Blade 3?
Y'all, Remy is a high school teacher, and we're always talking about how we want to support our teachers. Support Remy by going to watch Blade 3. You can do it.
Like me and I don't even think Wesley Snipes liked that movie. And notice how nothing in that movie I have mentioned Wesley Snipes.
I know. Honestly, though, what was funny to me about Wesley Snipes in the original Blade, and I was like, he doesn't have a lot of lines, but when he does, they're very grungy and like, ugh. And I'm like, just don't. He's like Batman. It's like, don't just.
My favorite moments are when he just like turns his head and gives that smile, just enough to the truth, and you're like,
yes,
that's the line you can sell.
Yes, there's only one line he said in the entire movie that I was like, oh, I like that line. The rest, you don't need to talk.
And I
just go kill. I do too.
One of my favorite movies.
Oh my God, that movie was a hot fucking mess, and he really was the only good part of that movie.
No. Sandra Bullock in the car.
Okay, I will grant you that. Grant you that.
Singing commercials. That
yes. She was fucking adorable. She was fucking adorable. But no, seeing Wesley Snipes chew the scenery was such skipping through the roses glee was the only thing that made that movie tolerable.
Everything else, it was painful.
Oh my God. I'm not really sure. I would have to ask my transgender friends about this movie and how it has aged. I watched it about a year ago again, and I thought it was pretty okay. But To Wong Fu, where it's Wesley Snipes, Patrick Swayze, and John Leguizamo, they are drag queens. And they end up getting stranded in this little tiny town and like really kind of bringing everybody to life, and it's Stockard Channing is in it. But Wesley Snipes was one of the drag queens. And one of the things I loved about him in that movie is he's unrecognizable, really. Like, you know, it's Wesley Snipes, but he really, all three of them just really just dived into those characters, and not for laugh value. They didn't play it for laughs. They played it very, very seriously.
Oh my God.
And
John Leguizamo in that makes me cry.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Yes. He and Patrick Swayze didn't get along in that movie.
Well, I guess I can see that.
Well, because John Leguizamo likes to kind of go off script, and Patrick Swayze is very by the book. And so John Leguizamo was constantly throwing him off, and he was just like, "Urgh!" And then there's Wesley Snipes, who was just kind of chilling. He's like, whatever. But anyway.
So, I'm going to officially say the movies go Blade 2, Blade versus Deadpool.
That's what that movie should be called.
Yeah. Just put on some red glasses and pretend that Ryan Reynolds is in red, and you're fine.
Honestly, there's so much else, though, to enjoy. Like a vampiric Pomeranian fighting Ryan Reynolds. Somebody's been peeking at my Christmas list.
And Parker Posey with a vampiric Pomeranian.
As her pet?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
There is no wrong in this movie. There's no good, but there's no wrong.
Well, and if you go in knowing it's going to be a steaming dumpster fire, but with a lovely, lovely accompaniment,
and
then you're
the
okay.
sexual tension between Ryan Reynolds and everybody is amazing.
I love him. Well, I think we have our question. Seriously, please, everybody, please watch Blade 3.
Go watch Blade 3 and tell me, what was your favorite moment of Blade 3? And yes, I'm okay with it being over.
Well, I'm going to go do it, totally. I'm going to make Dan cringe.
And do we remember what the topic was for next show?
I think we were going to do Brightburn.
Oh.
The horrific, the Superman horror film.
I'm
not sure.
I'm not saying it's a great movie, but if you ever wanted to see what would happen if I got superpowers, they made it.
Then we should watch that.
Yeah,
we're gonna watch that. And please, everybody, remember we're going every other week now. For the foreseeable future, probably till the end of the school year, because God help us all. So please remember, after this episode, you got a week to catch up on the backlist, to check out Behind the Mask and all that good stuff. And then we'll be back with Brightburn.
All right. See you then.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
To stay up to date with the Geekorama podcast, you can watch our videos on YouTube or subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a review or hit the thumbs up button. New episodes are released on Thursdays for podcast listeners and YouTube fans.